Welcome back to Cayne. While poking around the walls, I accidentally jumped into this. This seems like binary code, so if anyone could translate that, I would be much obliged. It was in this corner. I just wanted to go to the to that side of the map. Okay, I wanted to continue down there. That's weird. No idea what that means. Maybe look it up and pin a comment if I do so. And if not, I'm not doing that. So I wanted to continue in the PDT room. So obviously we have to go here. Do these also have secrets?
Stupid Hadley.
Yes, they have. 1. 10 minus n. 3 minus I. 15. 63 minus u. What? This is also a code. I have no idea what code we're using here. Okay. I think we'll have to keep those in mind to open something up later. We have to scratch everything. Okay, then we have the fuse box here. What can we do with our stuff?
No! No, sister. What was I thinking?
What? Okay. ID card covered in powder. So I'm taking a print of the fuse box? Okay.
That worked out better than I thought it would.
That worked out really well. So I assume I have to cut it out. Great. No, I don't have a keycard anymore, but I have a fuse.
Well done, me.
And we can go through this room and print ourselves a PDA. Great.
Sorry, I mean... Gee whiskers.
What is it?
It's... brains.
Brains?
Brains.
Animal?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I have to take in this room this hologram. Swirling mass of neon particles make up an animated, anatomically accurate model of a human skull. The effect is probably much more disconcerting than the lab's designers intended. There's a PDA down here, worn wooden desk. And that opens the lock down here. Okay. I'll read that in a moment. There's a bloated brain floating in a vat. There's a detached brain in a vat and a personal data tag printer. Encrusted with ice, perhaps as a result of cryogenic freezing, a low hum radiates from this brain nutrition tank. And operate this console. Then we have the thumbing machinery and a blood-stained bed. We have to poke against everything now. Okay, PDT.
Personal data tag printer. Oh, PDT. This must be how they're making the security tags.
There must be an easier way.
This facility seems to do things the hard way. I've heard of spinal tagging on animals, right into the nervous system. Maybe this is like an upgrade? But these aren't animals.
Sure we are. We're just meat puppets.
Meat puppets? You had an interesting childhood.
Hi, friend. I'm Ralph. Let's print the PDT together.
Wow, I don't like Ralph. We need a blank PDT and a PDT template and a cryoregulator. So that's our to-do list. So let's go to the PDA, which is the only interactable thing around here. That fucking bitch, I mean I get it, she's John's daughter. Also, Sharon Cayne Musk is the person writing here, and who is obviously related to the company leader. She's John's daughter. She's a big deal or whatever, but I'm a Cayne and that spoiled brat needs to know her place. So maybe I'm not her biological mother, not some nobody gutter whore from the dust colonies, but her father and I are lovers now, and she has to accept that and show some respect. I think I'm going to start insisting that she call me mother, just for today's insolence, and I can probably use John's pathetic piety to play the two of them off each other when she inevitably defies me. That should be amusing. Besides, without me, the whole team would be totally screwed because I'm the only one who can go near Samantha. Me, not Julia, not even John, me. Samantha and I have a mutual understanding, I think, experiential bond. Me with my disabilities and she with her idiosyncrasies. Ever since the stroke, people treat me like I'm different. Yeah, you look like that, like a stroke. Like I'm other. So I can empathize with her. She's more than just a product to me, she's a collaborator, conspirator even. It's not like anybody else knows about our special experiments. The CEO has arrived at the facility. If I hadn't handled some of the paperwork myself, I probably have known anyway, because John was especially devout about his purification rituals when we met last night. I was still scrubbing blood out of the upholstery this morning. This shit I tolerate for my career prospects. Since when am I accountable to the fucking support staff that Danny Boland has become a constant and insufferable nuisance, skulking around in my lab and asking too many questions? He's in charge of managing the facility's life support systems, not our research work. I told Samantha about it. She said I should bring her Danny's pet parrot. I think she said that. It's the kind of thing she would say. Note: during the weekly inventory, I noticed that 2 grubs are missing from the habitat. Julia's sleazy friend from Mind Transfer has been hanging around our department lately, and he has expressed an overly keen interest in our specimens. Did he take them, and for what? Message from Sharon Cayne Musk to Danny Boland about an accident. Your bird got into Samantha's birthing lab somehow and was killed. It may be some consolation to know that, despite such regrettable tragedy, we've gleaned valuable information about Samantha's behavior in the process. She prefers to prolong the suffering of her prey, for example. This could be useful in our research. Sorry about that. You're an asshole. I think that John and Julia aren't talking to each other. Between a food poisoning epidemic, a frustrating lack of real progress in our department's work, and a consistent refusal to properly acknowledge me as part of the family, I guess everything is a bit volatile at the moment. Samantha thinks it's hilarious, but I'm questioning my own precarious position in the middle of things now. John is locking himself up in his office and sulking all day isn't exactly helping me, and Julia's sullen disregard is now turning into blatant hostility. Not fucking constructive, Sharon. Samantha has been sort of subdued for the last week or so. She won't tell me what the problem is, but I think it might be something to do with the temperature in the labs. Danny Boland is enforcing new atmosphere maintenance regulations, ostensibly to eliminate thermal fluctuations in food storage as a possible reason for this ration spoiling. But I suspect it's pity revenge for the parrot incident. With the temperature now kept below the habitat's usual 95 degrees, however, Samantha's grubs are drowsy and morose. 95 degrees, maybe we need that. July. I visited the atmospheric control room today to see if I could adjust the temperature in our labs, and I made the most intriguing discovery. Somebody has been collecting body parts, making some sort of thing. An organic simulacrum, maybe. I must assume this is some secret, obviously desperate new research development in Dr. Adams' apartment, so I've told John and Julia about it. Tensions have now been temporarily forgotten as our team redoubles its own efforts to resolve the problems of advanced organ regrowth. Samantha has become increasingly uncooperative, though. I think she liked it when everybody was preoccupied with circumstantial drama and not her. September. My personal stem cell therapy project has some unanticipated... What's wrong with me today? My personal stem cell therapy project has had some unanticipated results. I've developed what appears to be a cluster of sphincter-like gland ducts around my lower abdomen, groin and upper thighs, somewhat resembling those found in the more mature grub specimens that emit some sort of musky, jellyish discharge, perhaps a pheromone. Did I mix up my glial regeneration sequences? Or were the samples contaminated? They were contaminated. It doesn't matter now, John's become obsessed with them. I suppose the flagellation thing should have clued me into his predilection for kinky sex stuff, but this is a whole other level. I won't lie though, it's kind of hot. Ugh. I don't consider it hot. Clinical improvement on my mobility and speech issues is limited, however, so that's a bust. Shit. We've been in lockdown for a week and only briefly released today for an emergency drill. Something is going on around here, but nobody's talking about it. First the food poisoning, then the fungus infection, now what? I'm down to my last pack of cigarettes. I shouldn't have taken this fucking assignment. I'm not even directly related to Cayne, only through marriage, and my second cousins at that. But here I am, stuck in this crumbling science museum, sleeping with a decrepit zealot pervert, and trying to mend my troubled relationship with a creature from the Black Lagoon because it's the only really meaningful thing I have in here. What have I become? And the message from Julia Kern to Sharon Cayne Musk. Response, project update. Sharon, we need to discuss the situation with Samantha. It's important. Meet me in birthing lab. Nexus in 50 minutes. The unlock code is flag, lightning, flag. Okay, so we know where to go next. Okay, and then to that one. If it weren't that long of a journey around here. The birthing lab is the one I want to open up. Can I? It doesn't work for inventory anymore? Now it works again, but it doesn't work for closing. It's weird, sometimes it doesn't take my inputs, and sometimes it does. Sometimes it only takes half my input, like running to a place. Okay. We want, what's that? I have no idea what that is. That's the brain emulation lab, the birthing lab nexus, the crew facilities, and the central elevator access. So we need the birthing lab, which was flag, lightning, flag, unlock.
Is there anything else you can make out around you?
No. A deep thumping noise. Like a machine.
That's my heart.
Another generator, maybe? Focus on the last thing you do remember.
I can't. There are flashes. A hospital. Family. They didn't like me much.
Join the club.
They wanted what I have.
Oh? What's that?
Money. My name. Then they left me. Or I pushed them away.
Why?
They weren't good enough. They weren't willing to put in the hard work. Wanted to be given things. Given. The things that I bled over.
Well, I don't talk to Mother anymore. And my dad, well, no clue who he is. She was distant. Maybe she was always like that. Maybe I was just unlikable. She sure made it clear, often enough, that I was too much like him. That she saw too much of him in me.
I'm sorry, Hadley. Sometimes we unintentionally hurt the ones we love.
Such greeting card bullshit. You don't hurt the people you love the people you love.
Do they grow a copy of the old Cayne guy in me? Maybe? Because he remembers stuff like that. And the thing with the money would only make sense if it's something like that. Let's go to the birthing lab. The area beyond this door must be important to warrant such security.
Breathe, Hadley, breathe.
Okay, can't do anything here. We have left and up. Okay, let's go left then. Okay. Grubs. The specimens in the habitat are inert and unresponsive, perhaps in some sort of induced coma. Yeah, that's because this display primitively summarizes the current temperature, humidity, toxicity, and other status levels of the specimen habitat. Yeah, the grubs are undercooled, so we have to do something about that. There's a glass barrier and a retrieving platform. Crusted smudges of brown ichor stain the specimen tray. Great! This terminal shows diagnostic information about the specimens, including growth charts, medical reports, and a feeding schedule. Let's look at the terminal. Julia Kern is logged in. Check in were Caligula, Attila, Mengele, Genghis, Mao, Varro, and Vlad. I think that's the grubs. She named the grubs. Vlad was temporarily removed from the habitat using a baited containment canister. Oh, we will use a baited containment canister, I think. Caligula has exhibited extreme aggression towards her siblings. Mao consumed 5 appendages from Nero. I have supplied raw meat and plasma to encourage blood gas production. Vlad produced an excess of nootropic vapor, which resulted in low visibility in the habitat. 1 cubic meter of gas was shipped to the Kern lab for the subjugation of Samantha. Vlad was returned to the habitat. Attila started the metamorphic process. I've applied a metabolism inhibitor in order to inhibit stage 2 maturation. The grubs are responding negatively to maternal vocal calls. There's a possible rupture in the grub containment enclosure that is causing a blood gas leak that is in turn agitating Samantha. Habitat humidity reduced from 84 RH for the 512-hour hibernation cycle, so we need 84 RH humidity and 95 degrees. And also a plus flag play sign lightning for the crew facilities password. Making note of the crew facilities password in case Boland locks me out again. Okay. I'm writing crew next to that because I don't want to forget what it goes to. But I want to go here next. Hearing weird stuff.
Jesus.
You're scared?
Heck yeah, I'm scared. This place. Who could create this?
Monsters.
There's a voice recorder here. Then we have lacerated ribbons of flesh and muscle tissue frame the shattered vertebrae like some grotesque work of art. A mangled PDT clings to the spinal cord. And we have burning machinery, a restraining harness, a whip. A strip of leather sways gently. We have organic fluids, this voice recorder that I already saw, hydraulic mechanisms, a lever. The control box is connected to the hydraulic mechanism in the vat. And then we have a PDA and that whip. Let's get that whip. Okay, that's the whip of a bloodstained whip with tiny bursts. Yeah, that's the whip we read about in the PDA of the lady that the husband wanted to use on her all the time. And now he's into tentacle alien sex stuff. Professor John Kern, yeah, that's the husband.
Someone. They were
Cayne?
trying to grow Cayne.
Cloning is unpredictable. Cloning an individual is impossible.
It sounds like they were using something special. Something called Samantha.
Yeah, they're cloning Cayne and he's in my womb. Today is a holy day. Henry Cayne himself has arrived, frozen and waiting for the greater harvest to come. Soon the flesh of the immortal vessel will bring him new life. We're closer than ever, and I know it. The race has begun, and I will not allow Dr. Adams, the heretic here, to win. No, Cayne will not allow it. He knows the plan, and he knows that it ends with me. Our Leviathan is Samantha. Nothing on earth is her equal, a creature without fear. The book of Job 41:33. Never again will he die, never again will he feel pain, never again will he leave us. He will be reborn of his own duplicate flesh and not that of Adams and his ridiculous mind transfer politic. So Adams is trying to do a mind transfer thing for Cayne, and he is trying to do a cloning thing. Maybe they should work together. We're getting closer. Our next patient has undergone the new and improved genetic fusion procedure and is reacting well. The spinal cord has been killed, meaning that the dead cells will need to regenerate and reform into a functioning spine. No signs of physical rejection thus far, and cellular regeneration is slowly beginning. It should reconstruct itself overnight. Our Lord has stricken us with inadequacy. We have failed yet again. This is my fault, and I must, as always, accept the responsibility. This time I've added hooks to my whip, and I shall flagellate until dawn. I will elaborate on the results after I've taken time to reflect. So he's flagellating himself, okay? He has a weird necklace. Fusing... Also, what does HG mean if his name is JK? Fusing Samantha's DNA with the patient's caused the newly regenerated spinal cord to expand drastically, forcing the vertebrae to audibly pop into even halves. Soon after, the patient's immune system attacked the rogue spinal cells, which in turn retaliated by killing off all other attached nerves. In the end, the patient succumbed to asphyxiation as the new cells burned through oxygenated blood more quickly than the lungs could produce it. Another failure, but still not a wasted body. Praise be, I've spent the day, or at least most of it, reflecting on our Savior's brilliant plan. The pieces slide into place. Samantha, myself, and the almighty Cayne in the same facility. The planets are aligning. The end draws near, or perhaps the beginning. I'm glad we've finally found a use for Ralph. We've put him to a more productive task. Ha! His blasphemous lectures about how the fungal plague is the result of pure hygiene were getting on my nerves. It is Cayne's doing. The plague is his retribution for our sins. So Cayne is their god? Oh my god. Tonight we test again. We'll be using the same procedure as before, but this time an enzyme inhibitor will be introduced to prevent excess tissue generation. We must not accept failure. We will bask in the light of Cayne's restored glory. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be heard of the second death. Revelation 2:11. June 8. Still the patient lives, however it has exhibited some concerning symptoms. Although the spinal cord has stopped regenerating at an appropriate time, the arms and legs will occasionally twitch, or more accurately, flail. It seems that the spine has control over the connected limbs. The patient is no longer viable. After a promising start, the regenerative tissue again expanded beyond intention. Surprisingly, the patient's removed vocal cords were reconstructed. Of course, it did not understand speech. It must have been frightened by its own inhuman screaming, as it immediately tore its own throat out. After some gurgling, it regenerated within hours, then terrible screaming and bloody extraction. A cascade of rotting tissue. The previous throats began to form a dangling, bleeding scarf as the patient continued to tear itself apart. Great. Oh, that abomination. As far as Sharon can tell, Adam's unrighteous creation has wasted precious flesh in making a toy of some kind. Just like its creator, the abomination has been an unholy waste of resources. Even a name such as hobo is an undeserved grace. It's an animal and nothing more. Pestilence strike us. The fungal threat is weak now, but soon it will spread to our food and to our bodies if it hasn't already. This is our first and perhaps final warning to make haste. I've traced the spores to a cargo shipment earlier in the year, but I have no idea how they became so virulent. Behold, with a great plague will Cayne smite thy people and thy children and all thy goods. Second book of the Chronicles. So the fungus is stronger because they used artificially created fungus to get rid of the original fungus, and that second fungus began infecting everything because they mutated it and it was worse than the original one. For more information, watch the STASIS playthrough. The fungus is having an observable impact on the cellular regeneration process. One patient began to develop a film of what resembled reptilian scales, complete with a secondary set of eyelids. This is unacceptable. The spinal regeneration process has been mastered. Almost any tissue can now be perfectly reconstructed, but it's impossible to get definitive results with this interference. Cayne, if you truly seek rebirth, why do you hinder me so? Is this not the time? Surely there is a reason. Samantha scratched several demonic scrawls into an insignificant employee's bag. I want them not to get close to the succubus. She is the devil. Sometimes we need to make a deal with hell to get closer to heaven. Forgive me, Cayne. I succumbed to Sharon's temptation and had a romantic dinner rather than working late as I should have done. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. First book of Timothy 6:11-12. My repetitive failure has indeed had an impact on my faith. I am being tested. For the love of Cayne I shall rise above. Today I noticed that my laboratory is missing several incubators. The last inventory check was several months ago, so it could have gone missing at any time. This is undoubtedly the work of Adams, but why? He doesn't need the equipment and I can certainly spare it. Perhaps the hobo is involved. It is disconcerting at best. Time is of the essence. Samantha's escape today is likely to be the first of many, and we will eventually run out of ways to subdue her. She escaped. The re-engineered grubs are producing a potent gas that is driving the beast to fluster. Whether she kills us all or we find a way to kill her first, neither outcome revives Cayne. I will not rest until he has returned to intervene. From this point forward, I'll live for nothing else. Then let's listen to the voice recorder.
John Kern, note to self, all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. Leviticus 9:10.
I think we need that for a voice activated thing. Okay. There's a floating corpse. Use the whip. Don't go in there, please. Okay, it doesn't work. Activate that lever. They're pulling something out of there.
That was nasty.
That's a womb, an uterus made of flesh and machine. Ah, that's the thing they use to... not cutting? Maybe with the Omni tool? Nope. Okay, that's not what we can do here. Let's save before we go in there. Okay, we cannot go to that, and also the... Can we combine something to the whip?
Not. Grasping at straws, Hadley.
Okay. Then I assume we're done here. Okay, going on and entering the code for the crew quarters. This must be the Samantha room. We need the right PDT for that. Oh, if this wasn't always the big long walk here. Plus flag place sign. Lightning. For crew. We're missing 3 doors. This is central elevator access. It's the brain emulation lab, so the crew facilities. Was plus flag. Place sign lightning. Unlock.
It worked.
This can't be how I meet my end. I have so much more inside of me. I have so much more to give to the world.
Yep, this wasn't my plan either. This wasn't how it was supposed to be.
You're young. You can get through this.
And then, I'm stuck. Stuck with a baby. It's not a life. Not fair for either of us.
There are other choices.
Bingo! I did make a choice. It didn't end well. Women in my family have bad luck with babies. I'm continuing a proud family tradition.
Well. All characters in this universe are usually bad. I mean, not John, and I did already forget his last name, the protagonist of the first game. He was just trying to escape with his family, where the child had a disease, I think, and they tried to escape to a colony on Titan, and were captured in that. But so he wasn't really bad, and there were like 3 or 4 characters there that weren't really bad, but most of the guys did evil stuff willingly. And even the girl helping me all the time was evil at the end. And wasn't her name Miss Hadley? I think she had black hair, so it didn't look like I do now. But her name was Hadley, I think. At least that's what Dr. Mellon, who was the evil guy in the last one, said. Okay. See you next time on Cayne. Have a nice day.